Hey mamas, welcome back to my channel. This is Kay Louise. This is going to be a little bit different. This is going to be a labor and delivery story about my first daughter, Eden. So at the time of Eden's arrival, I was 23 years old, and I was not with her father. And that was the most hardest thing I've ever had to do, was bring a child into this world by myself. Granted, I did have family and my mom was really supportive and she really helped me through a lot. At this time, I was not in a good headspace. I was alone, I was living by myself, and I just didn't like anybody. I hated everybody at that time. I never been so angry before in my life. Like, I had so much regret, but it wasn't the regret of my child. It was more so who I had her with. And I never wanted to go through that being my first child. But I knew I had to be strong in order to raise her and give her everything she needed: the love, the support, just warm feelings. So at this time, I was going to the hospital of St. Joseph, and that's on Lakeshore Drive of Chicago. And when I tell you, I walked in, I was about 2 days overdue. I was supposed to actually go in that day for like one of those stress tests, on the baby. But my water had broke at, I want to say 4 something in the morning. And I want to tell you that the number 4 is very special in my life and in my heart. And later on we'll discuss why. So my water had broken, and at the time I was at my mom's house because the day prior I was with Eden's father. We did what grown-ups do. And also I did go to the doctor. That was my 40-week checkup, and I was telling her that I was having pains, and she kind of ignored me. And that kind of happens a lot with black women. Doctors don't take you seriously. So she kind of ignored me saying that, and she did not check me to see like how far I was dilated. So after I left the appointment, I just called my mom. I was like, look, let's go to Sam's Club, let's walk around. And so I did that. So we went to Sam's Club, me and my mom, and we got groceries. And when I tell you, as I was walking, mind you, I'm only 5'1". My stomach was huge. And I was walking around, and it felt like Eden was literally finna fall out of my what. And that was really crazy. So that night my water did break. And at the time, my sisters were in high school. My mom took them to school, and her and I came up north to where I live, and we went to IHOP. We had breakfast, and then I went in and started my laboring. My laboring was really hard. I was in labor for days. And I never felt so scared before in my life. My doctor did not come in and see me until 10 minutes before they prepped me for a C-section. So I was in labor 20 plus hours, like literally almost 30 hours. And I didn't see my doctor till 10 minutes before. Can you imagine? And that was just so scared. Them telling me that I had to have a C-section. And I was just like, get her out of me at that point. But I was so scared. Eden. Look how she's looking, Kayla. my mom was beside me the whole way. Like, I thank her so much, because without her, I would have really been a mess. Like, I was a mess already, but she was amazing, and I thank her every minute. And every time I look at my child, and it gets me emotional, because my mom did not have to be there. Like, granted, all mothers are not this amazing. Like, you know, I think about it, some mothers have it really hard because they have nobody. They don't have a mother, father, anybody. And my mother was so beautiful, and she was going through her own issues, and she was there for me. And it brings me to tears sometimes, because she was so amazing. And she was the first person my daughter ever saw, looked at. And when I was laying on that table and I was asking God just to help me, silent prayers, because I was just so sad. I never wanted to bring a child into this world like that. And my daughter, she is so beautiful. And when she came out, and I just fell in love. I just fell in love with her cry. And when they called out the number, the time of birth, 410, I just started bawling, because that is my birthday. And I was a miracle baby as well. I was coming into this world fighting, and I just feel like I've been fighting for so long. And I did not want my daughter to have to fight for anybody's love, affection. And I knew I was just gonna give her all the love I could, because I was all she had. And I sent her father a picture, you know, after I had her. You know, he said that she was beautiful. I knew that, you know. And he went back to Arizona, where he lives, and I brought my baby home by myself with my mom and my dad. That was the most hardest thing I've ever had to do. I just know that my daughter, she's gonna grow up, and I don't want her to hate her father, but it's just like he's pushing her. When she finally realizes that he doesn't love her the way that I do, it just would never be. So, as I was in the hospital the day after I had her, my mom, my sisters came, everybody came. I was sitting in a chair. Across from the bed where the call light was, and my family was like, okay, Kayla, we're getting ready to go home. And that was the day that I was going to be in the hospital that night by myself with the baby. And I was in so much pain, so much pain. I'm like really sorry for getting emotional, but that story always makes me emotional. And they were getting ready to leave, and I played her the song A Mother's Prayer by K. Michelle, and I started bawling. I started crying so hard, and then after that, I went unconscious as the song was playing. And the baby was in my arms. I was holding her, and luckily this was around shift change, around 7 o'clock, and a nurse came in, and I was slumped over with foam at the mouth, unconscious, holding the baby. Luckily the baby did not fall. That was just the grace of God. And when I woke up, I don't remember anything, but I woke up and I had a lot of flashing lights in my face. I had a lot of nurses and doctors in the room. It was at least 20 nurses and doctors. Like, I woke up, my body was literally numb. I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't feel my feet. I couldn't feel anything. I was in so much pain. And I was crying. I was crying so hard because I was like, where's my baby? Where's my mom? Call my mom. And I asked the nurse that was beside me as they were rolling me for CAT scan. I asked her to call my child's father. And he didn't seem unbothered. He just was just regular, like, oh, like, there's nothing I can do but, you know, just tell her I'm sorry, you know? And that moment there, that woke me up, because I could have lost my life. And to this day, they don't know the reason why that happened to me. And he wasn't there, and I was so alone. And just from the time of my mom leaving and her backing into the garage, coming home, that is when she got the phone call. So that was maybe 20 to 30 minutes after they left me that this happened. And I had to go up to ICU. I couldn't do anything for myself. I was super swollen. I will insert pictures of me being swollen. Even when I got home, I was in the ICU about 3 days. I had, you know, all these machines on me, monitoring me, and I could not hold my baby. I couldn't see my baby. All I could do was just call down to the NICU where she had to be. And mind you, Eden was a healthy baby. She weighed 8 pounds, 3 ounces. The most beautiful baby I've ever seen. She was so full. She was so alert. And I could not hold her, kiss her, tell her how much I loved her. During those first days of her life, all she knew was the nurses, and I was beating myself up every day about that. And they finally knew how much I was hurting, and they wheeled her up in a little incubator thing to me so I can hold her. And I was crying, and you know, like, during this time, this is such you want space, privacy, just to bond with your baby. And I had other people there watching me as I was holding my baby. That was the most hardest thing I've ever had to do, you know? Guys, I'm just really emotional about this. And later on, I was transferred up to a regular room. After they let me go from ICU, I was like going to a regular room. And mind you, I still wasn't feeling good at all. I couldn't really do for myself because of the C-section. And I had pneumonia while in the hospital. And so I got up to the next room. They literally left me in the doorway. And I had, they asked me, they're like, oh, can you walk? Can you get up and walk? And I was like, I can't. And I had pooed on myself because I couldn't feel anything down here. I didn't know what was going on down here at the bottom half. So, mind you, they left me like that with poo on myself. Left me like that in the doorway. I wasn't in a bed. I wasn't in anything. Left me in the doorway. And I was asking a guy, which worked at the hospital. I was like, can you help me to the bathroom, please? And he was like, no, I don't do that. I don't do that. And that just made my, like, first experience of, like, having a child just really bad. It was just something different, and I told myself I would never go through that again. Never. Even though I don't have control over it, but I would be in a better hospital. And it was this lady, I don't remember her name, but she was an angel. She came in and washed me up, and at the time I was literally throwing up on myself. And imagine throwing up and being cut open. That was the most painful thing ever. And she was like, Miss Jackson, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll get you together. And when I tell you guys that she washed me up, she made me smell good and placed me in the bed and helped me, she was an angel. Because at that time I just felt like nobody would help. Like, what hospital am I in? These people don't do anything. Mind you, I'm by myself. My mom has to work and everybody else have lives, you know. So I was up there a couple days and I was just like, I have to get out of here. And then they kept saying that, no, you have to stay another night. You have to stay another night. And I stayed another night. I didn't have a choice. Until the infections were gone and my body was so swollen. Mind you, like, I wear like a size 6.5, 7 in shoe. I had to borrow my mom's shoes when we left the hospital, and she wears an 11. Imagine that. My feet were huge. And it was around the time it was getting ready for me to go. We went downstairs and got Eden ready. Hey, Ma. Hey, Ma. We're holding Eden. That was the most beautiful thing ever. Like, my mom was an angel. Her and Eden are just alike. They have this little special connection that nobody understands but them. And I just thank her a lot. And even afterwards, I stayed with her for a whole month until I was able to go home to my apartment and do this mommy thing myself. And I did it. I went to work. Mind you, you're supposed to be back at work, 8 weeks if you have a C-section. I was back at work before then because I had no choice. I had no choice. I had to get out here and get it for my daughter because her father was no help. And, we used to fight all the time. And he would send like little money here and there. And then around, I want to say February, he stopped. He said, I'm not doing anything else. I said, oh, all right, no problem. And he said, the baby's probably not mine. And I said, oh, no problem. He was like, put me on child support. No problem. I did just that. And we got a DNA test, and that was his child. A child that he missed out on, and a child that he didn't get to see grow up, child that he didn't get to kiss goodnight or see in the morning or take to school. I had to do all of that by myself. Even granted, we didn't have to be together, but these are still the things that you do as parents, no matter what. Co-parenting, I promise you, is probably not that hard. For us, it's hard. It is, because when I'm telling you that you're missing out, your child needs this, or simple phone calls, because we don't live in the same state. I live in Illinois, he lives in Arizona. It's just real simple, and she always gets the short end of the stick, but I'm always there to pick up the pieces and give her love. But that's my job. I love Eden. I prayed for her. I wanted her. whether it was with her dad or without him. She was going to be taken care of, loved. And I don't see how men can go days, weeks, months, years without talking to their children or being present in their lives. I don't understand it. But it's not for me to understand because I'm a mother first. I go without so my daughters can have everything they have and more. That's my job as a mother. And that'll always be my job. I love them. But to Eden, you are so beautiful. You're a child that I prayed for. I nurtured you. I cared for you. But this is only the beginning, baby. Mommy loves you so much. This video is dedicated to you. And it's also dedicated to my mother who helped me. I love you.